Is this the end of the PlayStation 5? Here's everything good you missed from the 2-hour Summer Games Fest live stream, and even PS4 games are getting more expensive. And joining me to talk about all of this today is my friend Ray Trevino, the host of Xbox Ready. How's it going, Ray?
Pretty good, man. It was really fun watching Summer Games Fest with you, even though, well, I mean, we could talk about it a little bit, but...
It was cool getting to watch it for work, right?
Like, it was cool getting to watch it for work, and kind of, we were doing, of course, research, right?
Yeah,
it's all research.
Market research.
Yeah, Mom, so shut up. I gotta watch this 2-hour video game event, because it's for work. You would understand. It is a real job, I promise.
This video is sponsored by me. That's right. I have a ton of links down in the description to pretty much any PlayStation 5 accessory you might want or need. I've got TVs, monitors, SSDs, controllers, pretty much anything you can think of. So if you want to help the channel out, use those links to buy any of those things because I get a little kickback. I mean, let's just jump right into it here. It was a little too long, I think, and there were a lot of games that I don't think really needed to be shown.
They showed a lot, but nothing at the same time, I would say.
It started really strong, right? Like, we got that cool top-down Alien game I thought looked sweet. Then we got the Callisto Protocol, which they did the director's cut of the trailer, which was somehow gorier than the original trailer. It looked great. We got the first gameplay of the Callisto Protocol, and it's literally just modernized Dead Space. It looked really cool. It had gory, violent deaths. And then there was a long chunk in the middle where nothing really happened except for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. We were like both freaking out about that.
It's
that
coming to
so
Game
good
Pass too. And it's up to 6 players co-op, which is not something that you see in the modern day. Yeah, it looked crazy because it still retains that feel and look from the old school TMNT games.
Witchfire came out of nowhere again. That game hasn't been talked about in a long time.
I'm excited for Witchfire, and I'm excited for another similar game like that. The one where it's like all set to metal soundtrack.
That one's called Metal Hellsinger. I will be playing the demo for that released today. And then finally at the end, we got a ton of The Last of Us news, just like a bunch of it. Some of it good, some of it not so great. So the first thing they talked about was the multiplayer game. Neil Druckmann himself came out and only showed concept art, which is kind of a bummer because The Last of Us Part 2 is 2 years old now, and this was originally supposed to be included with The Last of Us Part 2, and I guess it's grown into what Naughty Dog is calling their biggest online experience. They said we'll see more of it next year, but still, like, concept art. But the concept art itself, it looked cool. It looks like it's taking place in San Francisco. They got the Golden Gate Bridge there. There's like palm trees. It looks like the rumors of it being like a Escape from Tarkov style experience are going to be true. That type of game is showing up a lot because Modern Warfare 2, which was also shown off, is allegedly going to have a Tarkov-light experience. I'm more interested in the Last of Us universe's version of that.
The one game that really got me pumped up was the Callisto Protocol, man. That trailer was wild, like with the gore and like the freaking death cams and oh man, showing off the different abilities and stuff. I'm super excited to play that. I know there's going to be a lot of Dead Space-like games coming out.
2023 is the year of the horror game, right? We got the Callisto Protocol, we got Dead Space Remake, we got Resident Evil 4 Remake. We're probably going to get Resident Evil Village DLC. There's just crazy stuff coming out next year. So you mentioned before we started recording that there's a lot of these games are not coming to last gen either, which we kind of predicted when we a little bit earlier in a couple episodes ago, I think. But yeah, The Last of Us Remastered is playable on PS5. You get the 60 FPS patch. It's pretty good. I'm glad that the remake is being pushed to the point where it can't or won't come to PS4. They're like sticking with the PS5, and that basically tells us that God of War Ragnarok probably will be the last cross-generation exclusive. A lot of rumors coming out that was going to get delayed also, but that was not mentioned at all during the show, which is kind of weird.
Well, you probably don't want to mention that, you know, when you're trying to hype up, you know, games to look forward to.
So Modern Warfare 2 was a game showed off. They did a whole campaign playthrough. I thought it was cool how slow and tactical it looked, but there's a big controversy with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 because no matter where you play it, there's no way to pay $60. It's $70 across the board. Last year with Call of Duty Vanguard, they offered a $60 version on last gen, and you could pay $70 and get a free cross-gen upgrade. But this year, that's the only version they're offering, just the cross-gen bundle. So if you buy it on PS4, you're buying the PS5 version as well, and it's going to cost you $70, which is crazy, right? Like, it's a little bit nickel and dimey.
Yeah, I mean, you want to play this game? Okay, buy it twice.
Yeah, it's like, does the $10 really generate that much more revenue for them? I don't think it's going to result in less people buying Call of Duty, because Modern Warfare is obviously their biggest brand, probably followed by Black Ops, but it's just like, you want people to like your company, right? Like, I feel like that's just a PR hit for no real reason. For $10,
They really are like tripling down on the $70 price tag, as we keep seeing. No matter how much people complain about it, no matter how much people complain about the upgrade paths, like we saw with Horizon Forbidden West, they are like quadruple tripling down on saying, you know what, we're going to stick to our guns. $70, that's it. They want to sell these games for $70, and that's the price that they've set. I feel like if they go back, they're afraid that it will look bad on them for some reason. I mean, again, I feel like this is going to cause a lot of stink. Once the game comes out amongst the PlayStation fandom, and Xbox people are going to take this as a console war bit and be like, blah 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 blah. You have to pay $70 for your game. I'm getting so sick of seeing that stuff, and I feel like a lot of people in the Sony camp, they're happy to pay the $70, right? To them, it is worth it, and if it's worth it to you, who am I to tell you how to spend your money, man? That's your money. If that makes you happy, go for it. You know,
I think Microsoft could get to a point where their games are worth $70. They just got to let them cook a little bit longer.
They got to let them cook. I mean, they really haven't put out something that I would personally pay $70 for, but that's not to say, because we know they have a crap ton of stuff that I'm super excited for that, you know, I would probably pay $70 for sure. Overall, most of the time, I feel like Sony has that credibility and that has that goodwill amongst their fan base to where they say, hey, we're going to charge $70. People are mostly okay with it. This Modern Warfare bundle cross-gen situation is not one of those situations.
So the last story we have to talk about here is this new app that was kind of announced before Summer Games Fest, but also announced during Summer Games Fest. If you have a 2022 model of a Samsung TV, you have a Samsung Gaming Hub now on your TV. You can use GeForce Now and Xbox Game Pass. And this is really freaking people out because they're kind of seeing this as the beginning of the end of traditional gaming hardware. And I can't blame them, really. Like, you know, like, I can see why it's scaring people. I don't think it's going to be doom and gloom as fast as people are saying it's going to be, though.
No. The technology is not there yet. Yeah. And I mean, it was pretty interesting to see that Samsung reveal. Obviously, we knew that Xbox was going to be a part of that in some way. But, you know, seeing GeForce Now and seeing Stadia and seeing, you know, all these other gaming streaming options like you would, you know, with all these other TV and movie streaming platforms, like, you know, this TV's got Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, you can download HBO Max. It was interesting to seeing the gaming version of that. Personally, I thought that's where Microsoft was moving, you know, for a while, and a lot of people are like, you know, it is quite shocking because we as gamers, that's all we know, right? You buy the console, you buy the disc, insane. You plug it into your TV, and you play the game.
Seeing that as a marketing point, like, you don't need a console anymore. It's like, but I kind of want a console. Like, I like having a device that plays games. It's when people talk about like having AAA games on your phone. I don't need that on my phone because my phone is my phone. I do social media on there. I call people. I text people. I don't want to be on my phone all the time. You know, I use it for work a lot of the time. I want to have a dedicated relaxation device where when I get home from work, I want to be able to boot up my PS5 and play some video games. Like, I like having a dedicated device. And even on the PC gaming side of things, my work is done on a MacBook, right? And then when I want to play games, I'm on a Windows device or my Steam Deck, which has Linux. So there's like a differentiation there, and I like that differentiation. You know, I don't need to get rid of my console.
Yeah, there is something interesting about it, especially in these days where there's console shortages as far as the eye can see. So the ability to play some of these next-gen games that are coming out without the need to spend $500 is appealing to me because, you know, not everyone can afford to drop $500, $600 on these new consoles. And
everyone has a phone. I see that. Yeah. It's just, you got to think about, like, when that becomes a mainstream option, every game from that point forward has to consider that the game might be played on a phone, and that kind of sucks because that's when gaming changes into like, oh, well, people are playing on their phone in short, bite-sized time limits, right? So then you're going to see a lot more like quick side quests that are meaningless, where you're like, collect 5 fruits for me so I can make a cake for you. And I just like see how like free to play changed mobile gaming, completely decimated that market. That's what scares me about it. I think we're going to lose out on these deeper experiences where the story is delivered in a really cool and meaningful way. But hopefully those ones stay on console, I guess.
I think the phone ones are, phone is going to be phone stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I feel as though these companies are just trying to get the same experiences that they deliver on console wherever you are. For example, PlayStation 5 games. Sony wants people to play PlayStation 5 games,
right,
but not everyone can get a hold of a PlayStation 5 right now. Hundreds of thousands of people out there are still struggling because Sony can't get these consoles out there in time. And that's super cool on the Xbox side to see, hey, you can't get an Xbox Series X? Do not worry about it. You will still be able to play Starfield under certain circumstances. The one thing I worry about is that it's not a viable option for everyone because not everyone has good network internet connectivity depending on their region.
Right, like the middle of the country, like the whole middle of the country, basically, and the Midwest to some extent, has a lot of issues with this.
That's going to be a huge challenge that these companies are going to have to examine if they want to go this route of, you know, let's dump the consoles, stop making hardware, we're losing money on it anyway, money's in the games. But if you're trying to pitch that to someone like your buddy where it sucks when they try to stream games, that's not going to be appealing to them, and that's definitely going to be a downgrade in terms of experience when it comes to console versus streaming.
Yeah, Game Pass, the obvious objective for them there is to get as many people as possible subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate so that when they're spending $100 million on games like they do with a Halo Infinite size game, they can offset it with enough subscriptions, right? Like that's the ultimate goal. So I see why they would want to have that included on a Samsung TV on every phone possible. I think this Fortnite deal they have is great now that Fortnite isn't available on any phone app store, which is crazy. And I see how Microsoft got there because it just wasn't working for them on Sony's model. Whereas like Sony makes games, sells them for $60 or $70, millions and millions and millions of people buy them. Microsoft had a lot of sales, but they were never really in the same ballpark as how many people were buying games from Sony. And I think that's a smart move on their part to pivot to what's going to make their Xbox ecosystem profitable.
Yeah, they're trying to expand it out, right? And they're saying, you know what? You're not a huge gamer. You don't want to spend $300 to $500 on a console. You can still try our games on your devices that you have right now. Personally, for me, the ideal thing would be, you know, keep expanding this cloud gaming stuff. That's fine. But I'm in the same boat as you, Jimmy. I like my consoles. I like having a dedicated device. Maybe I'm just old school in that way, but I just like it. And I like coming home and seeing my Xbox Series X on my desk and be like, yes, now I can sit down and play. But, you know, if I were to go travel, you know, back to my parents' house to go visit, it'd be nice to have the option to stream in a more reliable way than it is right now, because right now this experience is very up and down for me. It would be nice to stream games that like I'm looking forward to or I want to keep playing without having to bring my whole Xbox console with me.
But yeah, as far as this goes, I don't think we have anything to worry about just yet. And I hope Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo even are looking at what's happening with Netflix right now. You just can't continually bleed money for a decade and produce garbage content and expect people to stick around. It's just like, wow, people want to leave your service when you can't keep up with quality content. And you run the risk of that eventuality when you focus so hard on a streaming service. So I hope they look at that cautionary tale and focus more on quality over getting stuff out to play on Game Pass.
Over on Sony's side, however, I feel like it's going to move obviously a lot slower if they even decide to go with the streaming route. We see them sort of doing this with their older games, PS3 streaming for PS Now, whatever.
Who's going to do that? And I think what they're doing with offering certain games day one on PS Plus is smart. Like the games that probably wouldn't sell millions and millions and millions of copies, like Stray. I feel like Stray is kind of a meme game where a small core hardcore group of people are going to be like really excited, pay for that game outright, but then that studio can get a huge lump sum of money from Sony to offer it for free on PS Plus, and then ultimately get more people to play it, which I feel like is their goal. Sony's being very careful though about what games they offer this to, so I like that aspect of what Sony's doing with PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, they seem to definitely be very cautious. I don't think they want to undermine themselves, Sony, with PlayStation Plus, because in the past they have made comments of, adding their bigger games like God of War Ragnarok Day 1 would diminish the value of the game. So I think they're being very careful in how they are integrating their top performers into this new service. But overall, Sony's not stupid, right? They know how people consume the entertainment, right? People would much rather buy one single device and use that for all of their entertainment purposes rather than buying an Xbox, a PlayStation, a Nintendo, a PC, a cable box, Sling TV, and then subscribe to all of those services. Like, they just want it all in one place. I feel like that's what everyone's moving towards, rather than kind of divvying up spending all this money on different hardware. Because we've already seen that in the entertainment business, where it's like, you don't have a box just to watch Netflix stuff, right? You just it's just the software stuff that you download on your Xbox, on your TV, on your computer, whatever, access it through the browser, and that's it. But it used to be where it's like, you have to have a box to watch TV. It's called the cable box. You get it from Time Warner Cable. It's a pain in the ass to set up, and you have to buy all this stuff that you're not going to watch. You only watch like a couple of channels.
Yep, that was great when streaming was a great option to combat cable, but now it's literally just cable because you have to subscribe to all the same channels again. It's awesome. The future is going to be great, and we're just going to be subscribing to everything, even your toilet paper.
What?